This is a public announcement. Naked flames are prohibited in the vicinity of Cubicle 3. You all know what happened last time. Dave's eyebrows still haven't grown back.
This is an emergency announcement. Medical team to Wonders. Rampage didn't wait for the custard to cool. Again.
This is a security announcement. It's in the vents. Do not go in after it. That's what it wants. This is a security announcement. All units to the parade. It's another clown fight.
That video says it's still processing in broadcast.
Oh, wait. Whilst things are offline in the HIP 22460 system through Thargoid activity, the radio station is struggling to be back online for an entirely different reason. Mainly, as no one from the team can actually reach the decks this evening. Chicks is under one of the desks, Flossy is crouching in the doorway. The apology officer, that would be me, has a disembodied voice. And 21, well, he's just running late. Amelia is the only one left who's anywhere near a mic, so this evening it's up to her to say,
"Our mics are live!"
Shh! I'm hiding.
Me too. This filing cabinet's lined with Thargoid-proof materials though, isn't it?
No idea, but these meta-alloy underpants are definitely keeping my unmentionables protected from Proteus Wave fallout.
I heard that standing in the doorway under the frame was the best thing.
I've been away. I've got no idea what you're talking about. I mean, look, stop cowering. This is Hutton. We're a huge distance from anywhere. And nothing is going to come and get us, okay?
I just can't believe you missed it. Well, look, we're going to be probably covering it during the news. So here goes. Hutton going cheap? Total bargain.
HR department receives complaint.
Too hot, too messy hamsters? Get upgrades.
Salvation gives Tharg a 3-fingered salute.
Hot on the heels of vanilla choc chip ice, we've got Guardian lollies.
Hot off the press, it's hot news time.
And I'm looking into the expeditions.
First, tonight, there was a minor panic caused when billionaire visitor to the orbital, Commander Dio, inquired as to who the owner of Hutton Orbital was. Bumping into Commander Flossy and Chicks, who were deep in conversation about something important, he repeated his inquiry, to which Flossy asked, "Wait, how much are you offering?" Commander Dio, with extremely deep pockets and a crushed void opal covered and oh-so-stylish jacket, as well as genuine replica Space Master wristwatch, immediately pulled out his Bank of Zeons card and looked for somewhere to swipe. Of course, we know that Flossy was joking and that Hutton isn't really owned by anyone. As a cooperative, we just run it on behalf of Alvin, and as Alvin, a bit like Queen Elizabeth II, doesn't carry cash, nor have pockets, nor is, in his case, he legally entitled to own anything, well, Hutton isn't owned. It just is. Of course, that begs the question as to who pays Floor Mopping Guy's salary, whether architect Lael Wolf, formerly Progenitor Wolf, knows where the deeds actually are, and who owns all the patents and copyrights for the Centauri Megagin distilling method and the secret formula for Hutton mugs. Chicks, being the entrepreneurial sort that he is, of course, promptly accepted Dio's card, swiped it behind the bar, and ordered everyone a round of something potent, a bag of nuts and an hour on the pay-per-view Galnet feed from HIP 22460, which of course Dio didn't mind one bit, as it certainly was better than actually being there with all the screaming and probing and throbbing and, well, you get the idea.
Seamless.
Argoids have deleted the apology officer. Where's the apology officer?
I'm back.
You're back.
It's okay. It's all okay.
Rewind. Right.
I'll start again. Derek.
Let me know. No, I'm gonna bong you in. Hang on.
Derek, an apology. Fans of the show and those who have nothing better to do with it, can you turn the music down, please? Do I turn the music down? Yes, thank you.
I can turn it off.
You've got voice levelling.
Well, this is going well.
Yeah.
Seems. Have you got voice levelling back on again?
I hope not. Right. Somebody else wants to do this story. I'll fix myself.
No, we're good. We can cover for a little minute.
Right.
You can see the lovely Derek on screen at the moment, next to some oaf, which we're about to hear about why it all went wrong. Many seams.
Voice.
That one.
So many seams.
You see, if you will hide in the filing cabinet.
Look, I'm gone for like a week, 2 weeks, and
I know.
and I come back.
I don't see any. Okay.
I mean, I can kill the widdly widdlies if you want.
It's in playback.
I don't see any issues. I don't see where I'm supposed to go and change something.
Quick cover. I'm going to mute my mic for a second. You lot talk amongst yourselves, and I'll tell the apology officer.
Yeah.
Have you seen the price of bacon this week?
No, don't talk over him. Don't talk over him, Simon. Sorry. Right, start again.
Right, tools, options, voice levelling. Under playback.
Options.
Playback.
Voice levelling. Automatic. It's because I'm on a different machine. Right.
Poor Derek. Oh,
Derek.
Is it better now?
It's just getting worse. Yeah, it sounds fine now.
Oh, right. Shall I bong you in?
Yeah, bong me in. We'll have another go, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, while you're doing that, retired Navy IT1's just delivered gin to Treppin somewhere. Anyway, first gin full. Well done, retired IT Navy. Here you go with your bong.
third time's a charm. Derek, an apology. Fans of the show and those who have nothing better to do with their time, which amounts to the same thing, have failed to see the terrible and dramatic event shown in Tuesday's Patch 13 livestream, where Vantian and Flossy ventured into HIP 22460. Yes, there were bits of megaship all over the place, Thargoids were grabbing out occupied escape pods like they were in a giant human flavoured pick and mix, and most of the system was either on fire or about to be on fire, but among the epic carnage was a very human-scale tragedy playing out. Mr. 21 dropped into the very large debris field which, until recently, had been the command centre of a galaxy-wide Thargoid extermination project. Following a quick recce for any salvageable tech, an interceptor arrived looking for fresh victims and took exception to finding living humans in the area. Vantian ordered Derek out in a fighter to run interference and protect the mothership, which he did with gusto. Being a literal type of guy, he shunned telepresence and flew the fighter in person. Now, we don't know how Gusto the Clown escaped the brig at Hutton, but off-colour humour and buckets of confetti were the last thing Derek needed at that point. He actually had to stop firing at the interceptor long enough to fight off Gusto's novel approach to giving him a wet willy. When he looked round, he was facing 3 angry Thargoids. Gusto had buggered off in the escape pod, and Vantian was boosting his way out there at high speed. Derek's afternoon ended in a screaming, burning, green-misted finale shortly thereafter. For leaving poor Derek behind to face certain death, Commanders Vantian and Flossy would like to offer their most sincere and heartfelt apologies. Gusto was not available for comment, but is believed to be aboard the Thargoid interceptor. It'll be the one with all the petals have fallen off and the cockpit's full of blancmange. We would further like to apologise that Derek's remains were delivered to his family in a shoebox labelled Derek T. Fetter Pilot. Remains, some assembly required. We realise now that this may have been somewhat insensitive. Derek is currently having a brand new clone baked at Prestige Clone. Well, budget clones for you and the adjoining McThargoids are currently closed pending a joint investigation by Environmental Health and Hutton Food Standards, so, you know, we really are very, very sorry.
If you were paying attention during last week's show, you'll have noticed that we embarked upon the mammoth fool's errand that is too hot, too messy. For the uninitiated, the messy part of that comes from mug every single system. It was kicked off by invited special guests including the Pilots Federation's public relations team, the Burrs, Zulu Romeo and many others that I'm now in bother for not really remembering. We did it once before, but with Odyssey, we get a whole load more stations that must be suffering from mods, mug ownership deficiency syndrome, the effects of which are too numerous and too graphic to broadcast before the watershed. Not only that, every station will receive a canister of Centauri Megagin to put in their mug. So we really are going where no mug has gone before. When I say we, I don't just mean Hutton, as this is open to all commanders in any squadron. In just the first week alone, over 100 commanders from over 40 squadrons have enlisted towards the effort, delivering over 5,000 mugs and gin, more than a quarter of those to stations where no commander has ventured before. At this rate, we'll have delivered a canister of Hutton mugs and Centauri Megagin to every station in the galaxy by April 3309. How do we know all this? It's on the Too Hot Too Messy event page at hot.forthemug/hot_mess_2. Of course, Hutton are blazing our own trail at the head of the squadron leaderboard with over 2,000 muggings, but honourable mentions must go to a two-man squadron, the Undead, with 300, the Paladin Consortium with 260, and Infinite Dreamer, all on his own, with 200. Some shameless overachiever has dropped the most mugs with exactly 500, Nem has stolen second with 270, and Poper Rap of the Undead is third on 268. To track deliveries, you need to sign in by downloading the Hutton Helper from hot.forthemug.com/download, where your mug and gin distilleries will be counted for you by the magic hamsters and their master wrangler Entarius Fusion. It comes in 3 flavours: full fat helper, helper light, and online helper, so choose the one that best suits your constitution and download it today. Current predictions, courtesy of Commander Lenin, are that this effort will be completed at the current rate around sometime around April 3309, unless of course we recruit more truckers and good buddies to the effort. Entarius Fusion is now happy to report that hamster welfare is at an all-time high, as he's changed their bedding, given them a new wheel and extra cool treats to cope with the hot weather.
Unless you've been hiding under a rock somewhere out at Beagle Point for the last couple of days, you may have noticed that things appear to have gone quite a little pear-shaped recently. Hutton's warnings on last week's news broadcast, you did listen to it, didn't you? That there were a number of equally terrible options on the horizon once Salvation and all of his cronies pulled the big lever, pushed the big red button and sounded the brown trouser alert, appear to have fallen on deaf ears. Well, to recap from our perspective, HIP 22460, bit of a Thargoid hotspot, planet with one of those mysterious Thargoid buildings on it. You know the kind, the thing that has the machine that shows funky star maps when you poke it just the right way. Some clever spark decided that it could be used to send space spam to Thargoidia Prime, addressed to his/her/their Excellency Tharg the Mighty, and signed off with a SWALK and a few nicely drawn hearts. Then some other clever spark noted that they thought they could do some funky science and broadcast humanity's own shutdown field. A bit like theirs, but an entirely different colour. We like blue. So apparently did the Guardians, which is why they used Guardian technology. Then yet another clever clogs worked out that if we used a really big battery and sowed the surrounding space with lots of tasty looking morsels, we could attract the Thargoid fleet like flies around biowaste, and whilst they were busy comping and munching on human beans, we could pick up the old Bakelite telephone and dial 0898 Proteus. Careful spelling that one, if you get it wrong you'll get a dirty chat line. Hold the receiver up to the Thargoid machine, feed it lots of Guardian tech, and then run away giggling like school children. To cut a long story short, Salvation decided that it was all his idea. And even better, he'd live stream the entire thing to the galaxy. What was supposed to be his summer's blockbuster hero hit unfortunately ended up being a candidate for Humans Do the Stupidest Things. Apparently, producers on that show are looking for Salvation in order to send him his 100 credits for being this week's best entry. They've even resurrected big-collared hero Harry Hill for the snarky voiceover. Anyway, Salvation gave Thargoid a big 3-fingered salute, and when his computer asked, "Are you sure you want to reset the Thargoids?" pushed yes. Something went plump. Thargoid stopped and watched the light show for a second. What he hadn't counted on was the sight that he was using most put out by this. The sight he was using most put out by this, and it decided to change the colour of the light bulb from blue to green. Thargoids don't like blue. The resulting wave promptly caused the entire system to reboot, and as luck would have it, Thargoid engineers are just a little bit better at the fast reboot than human ones are. Everything with a made in space from Guardians sticker on it failed to reboot, which was almost a loss. Tharg's fleet celebrated with fireworks and a big banquet. Salvation scarpered. The police put up hazard tape. Video crews went to go ooh at the light show and join the banquet as dish of the day. What's more, Tharg the Mighty stole a Guardian recipe book. All in all, a bit of an old goal. Aren't we glad that we hid in that unobtainium, indestructium alloy fort whilst all this was going on? Next week, we've got a video of President Hudson kicking a porcupine up the Jacksy, and the Emperor attempting to eat one of those Tide Pod things as he saw it on a Galnet video once and thought it was cool.
Talking of recipe books, it appears that the Guardian Ice Cream and Lolly Corporation has branched out this week. Not content with launching cool original flavour relic lollies, they've added sour apple flavour. These two delicious flavour icy treats are a step away from the usual Jawbreaker Grey gobstoppers that can be bought from all good Guardian ruin sites. The gift shop's at one end and does a mean glowing ball that you can take home to show the kids. It appears that attempting to feed one of these delicious looking treats to a Thargoid base seems to cause Errol the little scavenger to get quite upset and start spitting. Well, also lightning to shoot out of things, heat warnings, radioactivity. That will most definitely give you superpowers. Right up until you die from the inside out a few seconds later with a nasty migraine. Could be brain freeze, though poking around with unknown artifacts from ancient warlike civilizations rather precludes this option in most cases. Canon Interstellar, Galactic Boffins, have noted that not only are they hunting for these treats as it's summer and they're hot, Professor Ishmael Palin and Ramtar are both issuing huge payouts for anyone who can pop to the shops and get them one, as they're far too busy boffing to run around the little van every time they hear Greensleeves.
Well, it has been a lovely, quiet week here in the Situation Room at the Orbital after the recent BDS craziness. The threat board is a completely blue and benign state, with just one tiny cloud on the horizon. The only downside is being a bit warm and a couple of the mops are beginning to niff a bit. I must have a word about proper rinsing. Anyway, more on those stories coming up. In its regular spot at the foot of the table, Barnard's Star is still struggling on 28%, but apparently its citizens are not only elated about this, but are enjoying a period of civil liberty. 30% of system influence is yet again tied up in a series of civil wars, with outbreaks also afflicting one of the minor factions. It's proving very difficult to move much influence now, except downward. The fortunes of Ross 671 have stabilised somewhat, and the system is stumbling along on 38%. So if you're in the area, drop into either of the large pad stations and lend a hand. The chaos and civil unrest in LP 525-39 has ended, along with the careers of many of the pirates who were operating there. The only cloud on the Hutton horizon is a pending outbreak in the Epsilon Eridani system, after it's barely recovered from the previous outbreak 6 weeks ago. Tuckers should relieve this quickly by shipping in quantities of medicines to the large pads there. Fleet carriers will be on station soon. Saw some mugs, gin, and presently a hive of activity, Alpha Centauri has gone from bust to boom in the space of a week, and with a fair wind may yet go into an investment state in the coming days. The start of Too Hot, Too Messy had a minor setback as the bust state curtailed mug and gin production, but the recent trade activity has boosted our economic state, and we ought to achieve maximum output soon. Last week, Hutton expanded into LHS 3531, which already has 2 player factions and is home to the lazily named Mining Station 1, of which there is 1. Why would we want to stay in a system that is home to some of the someone of limitless ambition yet combined with mediocre ability and staggering unoriginality. So we're not. We're leaving. At the overachieving end of the Hutton Systems table, we have 5 systems above 60%. Keep it under control, folks. You don't want to do an overlight. Priorities this week are, if you want to chuck something, boost Barnard's star and relieve the pending outbreak in Epsilon Eridani. If you want to shoot something, perhaps rethink your life choices, maybe.
Get-togethers and getting away from it all are the watchwords of our community's events, and here at the original home of the Community Events Diary are 2 of those we've heard about. Does the sun still rise in the east, and Passage to Andromeda. Back after a quick break and his setback, remember he crashed into a planet and went back 17,000 light years for a new ship. Here is Commander the Presence to tell us how he's been getting on with his journey back to the bubble in Does the Sun Still Rise in the East, week 23.
Commander the Presence here again, not dressed up but with places to go. I've been jilted by the lovely Sally, and I'm ashamed to say her flowers are not the only thing that have wilted. Of course, I completely understand why. How can I compete with Salvation and his super weapon? It matters not that I can fire mine several times a minute. If you can fire yours and the galaxy moves, even if it's only once every 3 months, then how can I compete? It's true what they say. Size does matter, and Salvation's is the biggest I've ever seen. I so hope the 3 weeks he took to get it ready to perform are worth it and everything isn't over in a few seconds, because that would be something I could do. This means that, after a week's hiatus, pining on the bulletin boards for a swipe right or some sign of incoming brutality, I'm about to head on my merry way again and leave the area of Magellan's Star again. I've got an excruciating amount of lost ground to make up and have spent the last week in probably the most boring area of space in the whole of the Milky Way. Even last Wednesday's Hammond organ recital night on the carrier starshipservice.com 2, Hotel 9 Kilo Golf Tango Zulu, was a damp squibbler affair with the entire show consisting of covers by the Dooleys. Right. Those bacteria won't fossett themselves. I have a genetic sampler and I'm not afraid to use it. I just hope that it doesn't fall off or I go blind if I play with it too much. Until next week, TTFN 07.
Now, a special expedition, early details of which have been supplied by Commander Yannick. It starts from Lave on 18th of September 3308. So let's hear a quick summary of what it's all about from Commander Yannick.
Passage to Andromeda is a celebration of and tribute to the exploration community of Elite itself. To all pioneers, event organisers, community project admins, the space crazy scouts, and most of all, you, the explorers of Elite Dangerous. This is a journey from the foundations of Commander Jameson's beginnings in the Lave system, Elite 1984, through the galaxy as visited by the vibrant multitude of Elite Dangerous expeditions that went before us, all the while continuing to explore, to blaze their own trail through this vast and unknown galaxy of ours. During the trip we shall encounter the ruins of the infamous Project Dynasty, the second bubble of Colonia, the community build station from Distant Worlds 2 of Explorer's Anchorage, via the renowned Beagle Point, and many other breathtaking and significant places. Finally, our final destination is the closest star to the galactic neighbour of Andromeda, the logical jumping off point for any future expedition seeking to cross the seemingly endless wastes of intergalactic space. This place is the mysterious Star 1. We are an inclusive expedition, so we are flying in PC groups, Horizons 3.8 and Odyssey 4.0, and for consoles both PlayStation and Xbox are accommodated. The expedition will end with the passage to Andromeda, details of which will be available nearer the time. You can find details of the expedition on EDSM by searching for Passage to Andromeda or follow the link in the chat.
I know that's only a couple of events, but I bet there are more. If you would like us to feature your weekly updates, drop a few lines and a photo or two into our correspondence channel on Discord.
Hey, we survived. Just about.
It's nice to know our efficiency hasn't changed while I've been
No,
away.
it hasn't changed a bit. No,
I
mean,
happily have contributed to that.
well,
But
yeah.
just think, Amelia, you've improved the average.
Well, yes.
So, yeah. Average what? IQ or
All of that.
yes,
Anyway-
all of the things.
Amelia's back.
I'm back!
Yay!
Hooray!
We missed
Hey.
you.
Hello, I missed you guys too.
I know, and you've been busy writing,
Yes, well, kind of.
editing,
Um,
safety
So-
scissors and sticky glue.
Just let her tell us what she's been doing.
I am not allowed to say just yet.
Oh, you've not been blowing up planes in Crimea, have you?
I can
Topical.
thankfully say that I have not been doing that either.
But you would say that, wouldn't you?
I would say that, yes. So
Yes, you
you'll
did say
never
that.
know.
So top secret, you can't tell us. So tell us, when can you tell us?
I can probably tell you later in the year. Maybe a few months down the line.
You're going to make us
winter
paranoid
is
that it's
coming.
something exciting.
It is very cool. It is so cool. It is amazingly cool.
It's called
and
winter.
I so want to tell you guys what it is, but
It's
I'm
the
not,
temperature's
I'm not
dropping.
Sure. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say anything
Winter
on
is
the air.
It sounded like
You see, I've
Some
got a little
people.
video screen out the side of the studio here that's picturing back home down on Earth, and it's red sky everywhere this evening, which means it's probably on fire again. So yes, we're hoping for cool temperatures. You can deliver that one.
No, that's a molten high metallic world you're looking at.
Oh, right, okay. Actually, there's bits of Eden glowing in the background, or maybe
it
it's
just
a
looks like the
Thargoid
Earth.
wave. No, they're not waving.
No, it's the wrong colour. Red's the wrong colour for Thargoids.
So it's been a busy week.
Oh, hasn't it?
Flossy
You
is
can see that.
internet famous again.
Again?
Flossy's response to the Thargoids this week was to giggle uncontrollably at what they were doing. Wasn't it,
That
Flossy?
sounds like Flossy.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we had the recap earlier. Yes, Salvation's a Muppet, and he did not reboot the Thargoids. They rebooted him, and then they ate everybody, which was lovely.
For them.
If we have time, we might play the video again for anybody who wants it, but maybe not. But there was a live stream this week recapping what went on. So live stream 14 about patch 13. Out of sync.
Well, it's not required.
No. But it confused some people.
It's not like, check shirt and flares. It's
Yeah, or an amazing disappearing Bruce substituted for Zach at some
what
point.
that was funny at the minute. But the thing that did star all the way through was the Hutton mug on the table in front and centre the whole
The Hutton
2
mug.
hours.
You mean the Hutton mug that we're going to be giving away later in this show?
The very same.
Ooh, but we're not going to tell you yet.
And the one that we've been spreading around the galaxy.
Yes. Well, I don't think we dropped one with them yet, so I don't know where they robbed that one from and whose desk, because it certainly doesn't belong to us yet.
Well, they have a stunt mug, I think.
Oh, right.
They obviously borrowed
Well, they
it
used to
from
have a
somewhere.
smashed mug that a former community manager did knock the handle off at one point. Yeah.
No, this one was intact.
So Frameshift Live number 14. First things
Yeah.
first. Did we get
It's
free
quite-
paint?
We did.
Yep.
Free PJs today. Only 15 minutes to watch. What was it? The whole thing was like, 2 hours?
Yeah.
You only had to watch 15 minutes to get...
Well, they were back on the sofa, weren't they?
They were. They were
Yeah.
in Palatopolis, with the palette wallpaper and the big screen with the Coriolis in the corner on the comfy sofas, because they had so many guests. They had to
Yes.
find enough space for all those bums.
So go on then. We're going to have to list the guests. So the first guest was...
Just to finish on the paint jobs. It's if you have a T9, you would like to dress up in summer clothes. Summer Blueberry was up for grabs, so I think
I got some
you've
Sounds
berry
yummy.
today.
if you didn't get
Me
it,
too.
I think in 2 weeks' time you'll have a chance as well, because I think I
Yeah.
can't remember whether Bruce said the same one will be up again.
Do we have a picture of the summer blueberry?
We don't. No,
There is. If you look,
I'll
if you
melt
look
the
about
desk if I do that.
15 minutes in on the live stream, it comes up. It's not that exciting, but it's another paint job, isn't it? And let's face it, who flies a T9? Come on, it's like a flying warehouse.
Oh, don't even go there.
Well, the thing is, in real life, blueberries take about 2 years to produce fruit.
Do they?
Yes.
I don't like blueberries, so.
Apparently they normally take 2 years to turn up. Yeah,
they're horrible taste.
I like blueberries.
Oh,
I
I
think
like.
they're delicious.
Yeah, me too.
Give me a blackcurrant any day. Anyway, yes, guests. It was a bit like it was like their therapy session, their relief session after, they've had a busy week, clearly, because update 13.
Well, they did say they were going to the pub for a beer after the end of that live stream. Arthur said a beer. I don't believe a word of what Arthur says.
Going to the pub for a beer, he said. So guests came on in pairs, a bit like Noah and his art. But Samantha Marsh, who's the senior producer on Elite Dangerous, sort of talked around pulling Update 13 together over the past few months, and not in a great level of detail, but just how the sort of various parts of their organisation work together. And
well, I have to say, it, from my perspective, is probably the most seamless patch they've done in an awful long time.
Yeah,
the number of seams inserted were definitely fewer than this show. Amelia, your view?
Seamless? Yeah.
I mean, this was clearly a spray-on onesie special rather than a well-sewn, thoroughly seamed uniform they put on this week.
Yeah.
There was a couple of... The small seam was people who were on foot on one of the mega ships when the Thargoids blew it up may have had a bad day. But then again, being on a spaceship that's blown up when Thargoids turn up is bad to start with. So that wasn't entirely unexpected. Oh, I'm going to look out the window. Oh, my goodness, I'm floating in space, surfing on a piece of, rubble from the station down to the nearest planet.
Yes.
I think that was just about the only one, wasn't it?
Only one I can think of, yeah.
But sitting at on the sofa at the same time as Samantha was one of the audio team.
Yeah, Robin, who's the lead audio designer. He's not been on the game since the start, but he's been around for a little while.
Pardon, what?
He's what?
He's not been on the game since the start.
He's not been working on the game since.
He's not been working.
Get
on
your
this
mind
game
out of the gutter.
They'll do anything for funding these days.
But they were talking about, because you think about sounds, you think, and one thing, it's a bit like I always say, you never notice good infrastructure till it goes wrong, but it's a bit like a good sound scape. It's there in the background. You don't realise it's all half the time. It's telling you stuff. So. And it kind of informs you what's going on without you having to read things or look at things or check things. You can just tell what's going on around your ship by
when bad Thargoids are coming, there's a
particularly with Thargoids, but everything it's sort of almost like that. As you put the air brakes on when you land.
Or when you're cycling through targets and you can't tell which ones are red and green because you're colourblind, they make different noises. Some go bing and some go a slightly different kind of ping.
Yeah. Yes. So all that sort of rich subtlety that you don't really pay much attention to, but your mind does. You don't notice it's there, but your mind does, and it triggers you to understand what's going on.
And then Amelia, obviously, they showed off some videos during the live stream as well.
Yes.
Our very good friends did the first one.
Ooh. Which friends?
The one it says there. There.
Oh, Burr Pit.
Yeah, the Burr Pit.
Is that the one you showed me?
Oh, no. They did their own one. So the one that you saw earlier, because you didn't experience it yet because you were hiding in the Unobtainium/Indestructium fort, was the official broadcast by Salvation of his own cock-up. Burr put together an entirely more polished video of the Battle of HIP 22460.
It was quite sort of cinematic and epic, wasn't it? It
Well,
was,
Rini is quite the camera person.
yeah, it was very good.
And then there was another video, which was sort of it was a propaganda video as well. But Amelia, that one was by
Eagle 131.
It was basically tell Salvation to go stick it up his pint and smoke
Fundament.
it. Yeah, that's the one. Because Thargoids need love, not war. Kind of video, but I mean, incredibly well produced as well. Commander Chicks, could I prevail upon you to maybe just sort of put up a couple of links in the chitter chatter for me to those two, because they really are, both of them, worth watching. They're really very well produced videos. But then they came back from watching these videos, and Bruce turned into Zach, which was a surprise. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to Bruce, but he vanished and turned to Zach, and they were joined by two more of the design team, by Flossy. I can't remember the names. It was, on the left was...
One was Hannah Vardy.
Yeah, and she's a graduate designer. She's been with them for about 8 months, I think.
And there was Ben Hennessy.
And Ben was bouncing up and down on the sofa like he was supremely excited, because Ben's narrative designer. So it's working with the rest of the team. It's sort of, well, not Ben's story, but it's Ben who's been designing lots of the story bits, and really excited about what's been going on. They had some stats as well, Amelia. So in HIP 22460, the system that you didn't go into because it was dangerous,
Yes,
how many ships were
dangerous.
destroyed in that one session when everybody logged back in again?
6,800.
Ships were destroyed. That's not including the big NPC ships and everything else. That's just us, the Pilots Federation.
Yes, yeah.
And obviously, the total that were in the system...
7,800 commanders.
So that's a tiny percentage that didn't get destroyed in system. Unfortunately, I think that probably includes me. But anyway, so about 1,000 people either pulled the brave Sir Robin and hoofed it, or managed to get away with it somehow. So, Commander Chicks, the next sort of part of the story is Elite Dangerous :
Well, it's the aftermath.
Well, it's
Aftermath.
appropriate.
That was Aftermath, I think, was...
I thought that was
double PE,
what Canon Interstellar do when they've solved the sums.
Yes.
Anyway.
So, what do we get now? We get no more Mr. Nice Thug. They're angry.
Run. Well, they're angry in that one system at the moment.
Well, yeah, how long does it come on? They've got their own frameshift drives.
But then obviously they played a few videos from the community, because they'd sort of contacted a few streamers and Twitch streamers and whatever else and said, be ready, put streams live. So the streamers did, and there was Psykit and Psyche and Boss Lady B and all sorts were going live with streams. And Flossy.
Some oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flossy was streaming as well. Or actually, no, Flossy was on a ride-along when some oath was streaming.
Yes.
So everybody else is sort of crying and whooping and cheering, and then it cuts to me. And my reaction to the whole Thargoid thing is, well, that's not going to buff out, is it? Thanks, guys.
That'll leave a mark.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark. Yeah, well done, as my ship was, shut down. So there was some details on, for the Apology Officer, on console transfers.
Doesn't care anymore.
I do care, because all my money's on my console.
Splitter.
Yes, I am. So console transfers, currently slated for early September. No more details, they're still testing at the moment.
So early September, meaning before the second half of September.
I would assume so, because that would be late September or mid-September.
Right. Yeah, so early September, if you want to transfer all... Oh, it's not transfer. Transfer is maybe the wrong word. Copy.
No, it's
Copy.
clone. They're cloning your account. Yeah, because you'll still be able to play the same account with all the same things on your console, your Xbox, your PlayStation, whatever, but you will get a kind of snapshot transfer
and keep both
onto PC, and you can keep both.
Yeah. So moving along, also we've got from you some news about a big eye in the sky.
The big eye in the sky, the James Webb Telescope, has discovered a galaxy which may date back to around 250 years. That's not millions of years, not billions of years, but 250 years after the Big Bang. And
That's
the kind
pretty
of thing
precise, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like saying sort of galactic last Wednesday at 3:15 and 15 seconds in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think they put it down as something like approximately 256 years after the Big Bang, so something like that. But so it's the kind of thing that the James Webb Telescope was designed to do.
Do we have a picture of it?
Not at the moment, but I'll get you one.
We could do one for next week. That would melt the desks again. Yeah.
And they have named it the Edinburgh Galaxy.
Because it's on the fringe. Because it's out there on the fringe.
No, I think it's because the researchers were based in Edinburgh. The researchers who interpreted the data and found it. So, yeah, the Edinburgh Galaxy.
Isn't that... I mean, if the Big Bang happened, and as I understood it, obviously with the galaxy being sort of millions and millions and millions and millions of years old, right? For a whole galaxy...
13.8 billion.
Yeah, well, there you go. To create a whole galaxy in 250 years, I mean, that's Monty Python.
Yeah, it's mad. I'm guessing
stuff.
I'm guessing it's some kind of early proto-galaxy, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's already there and it's spinning. I mean, you imagine how there are planets that take that long to. I mean, 250 years. Proxima Centauri will have moved an incy-wincy bit around Alpha Centauri A and B in 250 years. I mean, that's really quick.
It takes Sol 250 million years to go around Sag.
Exactly. So it's a million years faster than our galaxy spins. It just turned up.
Times.
Yeah.
It's and that's the thing. It's got a picture. It's
but they were very different because obviously stars back then were all hydrogen and helium. There was no metallicity. There was
I mean, they were getting together faster than townies after lockdown got lifted. Yeah.
So they reckon as well, it's about 30 billion light years away from us. So because
what's the margin of error on that? 250 years plus or minus a million, or 250 years plus or minus?
No. I think the years is quite specific.
I'm sure they would say.
But talking of things that are quite specific, there was an enormous fart in space this week.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Beetlejuice?
Actually, it was in 2019.
Beetlejuice farting? What?
It was observed in 2019. And Beetlejuice, not Beetlejuice, did a massive fart.
It could be seen from 567 light years away. Kind of
a massive fiery fart.
Yes.
So doesn't that mean it did a fart like 567 years ago?
It did, yes. It just took us a long time to smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 235 million years after.
But this was not seen by James Webb, was it?
No, this is the one I'm talking about. This is
is Hubble.
No, that was Hubble. Hubble for Beetlejuice. I'm looking back at the Edinburgh Galaxy. 235 million years. I am a fool. It was 235 million years.
Oh, the galaxy, not 250 years. No. What's a million between friends,
Couple of million. 235 million. It's not that bad.
Well, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, other than that, we'll suppose back into sort of Hutton activities. You may have noticed, if you're watching the live stream on Twitch, that top right of your screen is a brand new little widget.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Too Hot, Too Messy widget. And you can see it says at the moment 5,303 mugs and 5,064 gins have been delivered. And in fact, that's a live feed. So let's just have a look. Commander Dark Session delivered gin to Leonard Dredging Installation in, was it Harrities? Anyway, and it's first ginful. This is a new thing. First ginful? What's first ginful?
It's where no gin has gone before.
It's where nothings have been sold before. This is the first commodity ever sold at that station as far as the community database is going. So no one's ever been there before. No one's ever sold anything there before. And the first thing they received was a mug, which was their 179th mug by Dark Session, and then gin to put in the mug.
And then yet, every time you go to one of those stations, they go, "Welcome back, Commander."
Well, it's the same controller following you around. That's the thing.
I'm sure you're confusing me with someone else.
Yeah, Commander Serverland says that number's about to go up. It depends if you're using the EDMC version or the Hutton Helper, because obviously the online version of the Hutton Helper takes about 20 minutes to update. The EDMC version is immediate. Oh, and Commander M. Gray has just dropped some as well on a genetic site. First gin fall again. Well done, Commander M. Gray. Anyway, so yes, the hot mess. Mug every single station, or too hot, too messy. There are a lot of stations that have never been visited. There is a new little tab on the nav panel.
There is, the summary, and it's quite useful because it gives you a clue of how many there might be other than what's in the list.
Yep, so if you follow the website only knows about things it knows about. It doesn't know about things it doesn't know about.
Begins to sound like Donald Rumsfeld there.
Yeah, but to find out the things that it doesn't know about, you have to look at your ship, and your ship says there are shed loads to deliver to, so you go to them, and you get first credit for first gin fall, first mug fall as well. And Kianos T. Geek delivered a mug, and we've retired Navy IT-1's delivered another mug. They're coming in 5306 now. So there are almost 1,400 stations that have been visited for the first time in week 1. What, 1,400?
Yeah.
That's about a quarter of the total, isn't it?
Yes. That's what I keep
So about a quarter of the systems we've been to have never been mugged or ginned or any commodities before.
Yep.
And they say welcome back, Commander, but that's because they're following you around the place.
So we started. If you think about that, we've done 5,205, of which 1,384 are new. So we started with 178,313. So we're just under 180,000 stations in a week. So imagine if between now and April we're going to add 1,500 stations a week between now. How many weeks is that?
Well, this is why the date is extending.
Weeks.
So at the moment it says we're going to be done by April. It said March a couple of days ago.
The rate has dropped as well.
February. Well, yes, because servers were off and people were getting blown up and people were
having it done in 2 days.
22 460s going on.
Absolutely.
So the first weekend was really busy. Last weekend there were loads and loads. But it has died down as other things have been happening.
Well, it's midweek as well, and we're coming into the weekend again, so it should pick up again. We're not running at 1,000 a day. We're running at about 800 a day, something like that at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you go to the hotforthemug.com/hot_mess_2 and go to event stats, it will tell you. At the moment, we're estimating completion time on Monday, April the 10th at 9:46 in the morning.
And that's probably gin as well. Because they had 2 separate dates previously, and the mug date was May. Sorry, it wasn't. It was March, and the gin day was April. So they're probably choosing the latter of the 2 dates.
Now, this doesn't take into account the ones we can't deliver gin to because they treat it as illegal. So that may be a little bit of a high estimate because there's a bunch we won't be able to do because gin's illegal.
Yep.
So you've got some tips. So, Amelia.
Yeah.
As you've not been doing this yet, we've not seen your name on the list. We're going to give you the hints.
Okay.
So, the first hint, Flossy, on the little list here.
Yeah.
Large ships versus small ships.
Yeah. You don't have to fill too often.
Chicks, explain.
So, if you retrieving in most cases, people are retrieving mugs all the way from Hutton Orbital. So when you get there, you can go to the station and buy them, and then you can maybe collect some more from a friendly fleet carrier owner or a teabagger who's got some outside the station. But basically, if you fill up a large ship with mugs, you don't have to go to Hutton Orbital very often. So if you're in a Python and you can land, or you can go into something bigger if you like, but you won't be landing in that. But if you take a small ship, obviously you can land and they're much more maneuverable, but you're going to have to fill it up more and more often, particularly, as I found to my cost, you get to a system in like a Cobra, which mine carries 44 tons. And then you end up, instead of the 16 stations it told you about, there are like 59, and you go, bugger, and you only get halfway through the system. So... That's one of the...
Okay, so is that a large ship or small ship piece of advice?
Well, that's a large ship advantage. So this is really about comparing the pros and cons of small ships v.
The second one, the apology officer can cover this one. The second one is...
You get to make trading credits on the side.
Well, what's this all about?
Well, if you have a large ship, you can carry other cargo. So
Yes, but obviously Hutton mugs make their best value when sold a long way away from Hutton, not the near systems. It's about 150 light years for peak sale.
It's well, anything it doesn't go up. It doesn't increase sort of beyond that kind of
About
distance.
200 is the max, but I think peak is about 150 away.
Yeah, I was selling in a system today or yesterday, and I took a loss on the mugs, but I gained on the gin. More than gained on the gym, so that was a bit weird.
So, Amelia, the next piece of advice on the list.
Many surface sites, if you crash or get interdicted and destroyed, you lose the lot.
So this is definitely a don't use big ships kind of piece of advice. Use small ships.
Well, you're going to be near the surface a lot, and I mean, usually I'm trying to think of a third way, but the two ways of dying and losing your ship are you crash into a planet or you get interdicted and destroyed.
Well, there's a third way. You land at somewhere full of scavengers and they decide to grenade you when you're on the pad.
Yeah, there is that as well.
Yeah.
That's happened to me 3 times.
Yeah. So we'll go back to Flossy. Now, you haven't done this one, but we do know some people who have, not looking at the chat channel too hard.
If you get careless selling, you could sell all your mugs or gin, and that's a sad face.
Yes, when you're in the interface, don't click sell immediately. You have to wind it back all the way to 1 before you sell. Do not be that person where you have got logs of who's done more than one. We're not going to name you yet, but we will do at some point.
Yes.
Apology officer?
Yes.
Next one?
Small ships are fun to fly. Small ships are fun to fly.
You
Oh,
missed-
sorry.
you missed
Well,
that.
let's
I'll
do
tell
that
you what,
one.
let's stick with that one and we'll do the
Yeah.
other one last.
Yeah.
They
Small
are.
ships
They're,
are fun to fly. That doesn't need any explanation.
you
They
need
just
you need an
are.
excuse to fly that Cobra Mark IV or dolphins apparently are a ship of choice for this one.
Yeah, the three top tips this week so far have been the Dolphin, the Cobra 4, and of course the Cobra 3. I've got a Dolphin, but it's not engineered.
What about Type 6? Good old fashioned Type 6, like
It's not a small ship, it's a medium ship.
Oh, is that a medium?
Yeah.
I have a Cobra 4 and I've been using that.
And the final piece of advice.
Well, just talking about small ships, there aren't many in a system. You won't get many stations that only have small pads, but you will get 1 or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in the Type 6 and had to go and get a Cobra Mark III so that I could do the small.
Yeah,
So
if you've got a like carrier nearby, the thing is, if you have to swap ships, you got to make sure the ship you're swapping to has got enough cargo space to take all your mugs. So you end up offloading all your mugs and having a handful left to put in the small ship. It's a pain, but yeah, particularly if you've got a carrier, I think small ships are definitely the way to go.
And this is why I like the new summary in the nav panel, because if you look at the Too Hot, Too Messy list, it'll tell you how many stations there are. If you then go and look at the system, you can get a good idea what the additional number are. I put enough mugs, say, on a Python so I can trade between the various ports, thinking there's going to be 4 or 5 small pads maybe, and then make sure that you expend enough mugs to be able to swap your ships over later on straight into your Cobra without losing any cargo, not having to jettison any.
Quick question. Why hasn't one of the Hutton truckers who has a spare carrier just parked it at Hutton and just, asked everyone to start loading it up
We
with mugs
did.
and gin so that...
We did.
We've missed all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Did all that last.
That's
Filled it up.
on the website, there's a top hot stockers, which lists all the carriers. The top carrier is the Hot Anduin Great River, which contains 3,456 mugs and 892 gin. We've got the LSN Clays Ashford with 1,700 mugs and 455 gin. So yes, between them, there's a lot of loading going on. I mean, the Hot Property, my own carrier's got 400 of one and 280 of the other on board at the moment. So yes, lots of carrier loading's been going on.
I might jump in my Dolphin over the weekend and load up some of the carriers.
The trick is the whole point of the carriers is obviously you can fill them up, but you can take them away. So a lot of people have moved them to more accessible systems, and then they advertise on Too Hot, Too Messy to say, mugs and gin here, come and get them.
I've moved mine up to Aldin to make it easier for me to get back to it, and also easier for people to.
But obviously,
jump
people
in.
can't buy directly from your carrier. You have to come and unload
No.
for them, to load people up. Anyway, so
But another thing you can do if you're in doubt about whether you can go to a station or not, is if you click on it in the nav panel, it comes up with a little information window, and
Yes.
one of the things it says is whether there's any pads or not.
Yes.
Some will say yes, some will say no.
dead handy. Right, well, it comes to that time of the show where we have a prize.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. In fact, Alvin's really excited about the prize. You can hear him.
Oh, no.
Alvin's really, really excited about the prize.
Hashtag not a sausage. Hashtag not a sausage. It's not a sausage.
It's not a sausage. Anyway, every single week we will be giving away a genuine, real, honest to what's it Hutton mug. None of these fake Redbubble knockoff, they robbed our logo robbing bastards kind of mug. This is a genuine one made from, well, what appears to be scrap from spaceships. There were pictures put up. And so at lunchtime, every single Thursday, Mr. Shouty, who is the originator of this event, it's all his fault, you can blame him later, put all the names that had done at least 10 mugs and at least 10 gin into a hat. And at the moment that's standing around sort of 85 at the moment. I think a few have snuck in the bottom of the list there, but it was around 80 some at lunchtime today. And he pushes, along with Mr. Cow, I think, was advising him on how to push the randomizer, a magic button, and a number comes out. We look down the list for the number, and there's a name. Dun, dun, dun. So this week we have the very great honour to present a genuine Hutton Orbital mug to Commander... Go on. Drum roll. Winnie 1974. So congratulations,
Ooh.
Commander Winnie 1974. If you're listening into the show, then fantastic. They were, well, at the time, they were 74th in the list. So number 74th came out the hat. They had delivered 12 mugs and 12 gin at that point in time. So congratulations to Winnie 1974. If you're a friend of, or if you know them, please do ask them to get in touch. Or Winnie, if you're listening as well, you want to send an email to I took part at huttonorbital.com with some proof that you're actually Winnie 1974. Let's say like a screenshot of your commander name or something. Say it's me, and then the Hutton Orbital Postal Service will send you your Hutton Orbital mug to a destination of your choice, which hopefully is your hand.
It's a good job we didn't draw this 9 hours later, isn't it? Because number 74 would be somebody called Banter.
Yeah,
He's not getting one.
No, you see, he's not getting one because he's already got a mug. Yes, and that's the thing. By the way, if anybody who comes out the hat has already got a mug and wants to say no, I've already got one, then we will do a redraw as well, so that we're fair with handing the mugs out. Because obviously, it's going to be the list will increase over time, but the list of people who do 10 every single week might get a bit short. You might all end up with one by the end of it. But the first one is Winnie 1974. Congratulations indeed. We will get Intarius to post up on the hotforthemug.com website and on the Hutton Helper notifications as well. If anybody is friends with Winnie 1974 in-game or wants to send a friend request over to them for us to say, Oi, you've won a mug, then please do, or hunt them down, fly over to them in your dolphin and nudge them a few times and say, you've got a mug. You don't have to accept your mug once again. If you don't want to send us any details and you'd rather we passed it on, do let us know. It's not obligatory to get one. But congratulations to Winnie 1974. We've reset the counter, and next week we will be drawing another one. This Saturday, it's a special day.
Very, very special.
It is, yes. It's a birthday.
It's a very, very special birthday.
It's Alvin's birthday.
Oh!
Alvin, our oh so fluffy and glorious leader, will be turning another year older. And
How old is he in human years?
I don't know.
It's rude to talk
okay.
about age.
No, you don't ask. You don't ask. You'll bite you in the...
Don't ask. Yeah, you don't ask. This
Oh, he's
Spaniard,
off.
right? Oh no!
He's run off with your
Not
sausage
the sausage! Not the sausage!
Also, today is Jester D's birthday. Very many happy returns to Jester D. Jester D is still turned into a big beardy hermit as well, but Jester D is doing all right and says hi to everybody. So,
Can we sing happy birthday to Chester D?
Oh, we could just do a generic happy birthday. We're going to be obviously out of sync because of lag on the internet. We can do 1, 2, 3.
That's some apologies.
And
happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Jester.
Happy birthday to you. And you smell like 1, 2.
And many more.
there we go. And if all our listeners haven't left already, it's, I think, time for the thing.
Oh, you can hear it snuffling.
Snuffle, snuffles.
Snuffles.
I think it's using the air vents to move around.
What is?
I'm back!
I'm back!
That hurt.
It's Flossy.
No, it's not.
Hang on a second. Flossie, what did you do? Oh, you've eaten the
I
microphone.
didn't do anything.
Oh, hang on. There we go.
Seamless.
Seamless.
Let's try that one again, shall we?
I think Galvin's pulled the lead out.
Somebody's knocked the record off.
It's still Flossie. Seams everywhere.
So far, so good.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals news. Last week's CG ended prematurely when the Proteus Wave superweapon was deployed. One of those occasions when faction state changes and other disruptive events can negatively impact markets and station services and could prevent the initiative from running smoothly. Applied. So it was ended at Tier 7 with over 1 trillion credits earned by 3,216 participants. The top 50% of contributors will have received 1 medium salvation plasma charger, and the top 25% of contributors will have received 2 medium salvation plasma chargers. And there are no new CGs this week. That's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do. No, hang on. Before you go to the next bit, I've got a quick question.
Yeah. I've got a question as well, so go ahead and I'll do that.
So you know, the CG was giving away salvation plasma chargers.
Yeah, I think you might be going to ask the same thing I'm going to ask.
Now, salvation plasma chargers
Quite
are
a few people have asked.
Yes, are based on Guardian tech.
Mm-hmm.
And where don't they work?
On Thargoids.
On Thargoids.
Can I ask?
Go on then.
Can I ask about salvation charge? Are those the ones that start off blue and then turn green and blow you up?
Yeah, and leave big holes in planets with glowing.
I don't know
Big
anything
holes in
about
planets.
weapons.
Big holes in planets and friendly ships.
Ow!
Oh, that's told us.
Yes.
Right, anyway, now it's time to head over to the Galnet news desk to hear about this week's tumultuous events. Over to Commanders Beetlejude and Witherspoon.
Galnet News Digest, 11th of August 3308. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, we still know very little about what happened following the firing of the Proteus Wave, but we may have found the very last words of salvation. And we do a little cookery, converting spearmint ancient relics into the peppermint unclassified variety.
Two days after the disaster in HIP 22460, and with no official word from Azimuth Biotech or any of the superpowers, our 2 main sources of information are accounts from those in neighbouring systems, including the trickle of survivors who've made it out to the Musashi, the Glorious Prospect, and El Centinela Cadeja in the Pleiades sector CW-U B3-2 system, and logs recovered from the wreckage in HIP 22460. The press is being denied access to the majority of survivors, so scanning the wreckage is providing most of the information we have at the moment. There appear to be many accounts of the events buried in the wreckage, but gaining access to them is hampered by the rapid arrival of one or more Thargoids about a minute after you drop out of Supercruise. Investigators are risking their lives and having to work fast to gather evidence. Two of the logs already recovered may be of particular historical significance. The first is a broadcast to the crew of the Bright Sentinel by Commander Morag Halloran, apparently just moments before the Proteus Wave was fired.
This is Commodore Halloran. I've just received word that the Proteus Wave weapon has been successfully installed at the Thargoid surface site. Soon we will initiate the weapon's activation sequence. It will take some time, so we need to be wary of any attempt by the Thargoid fleet to interfere with Salvation's plan. I've confirmed with Galnet officials that every major newsfeed will carry live footage of the superweapon's activation. We'll share the coming victory with the people we fight for. Every loved one of the millions lost to the Thargoids will witness our revenge in real time. You all know your duties. We've drilled them a dozen times over. Don't let the waiting audience distract you. Make me proud, okay? Halloran out.
The second log is a private and contemplative diary entry, apparently by Salvation himself. Showing a more human aspect than we've been used to, Salvation muses on the time he has worked on this project, his advanced age, and his growing respect for the Thargoids he sought to eliminate.
The time of our victory is almost here. My journey has been long. Too long, I think. I am likely to be the oldest ever living human. The fortune I have spent on cell regeneration and bionic replacements to keep my physical form intact. It would make even a serious accountant weep. Every single credit was worthwhile, though. The investments have allowed me to witness this moment, to be our salvation. The Thargoids are an ancient race, too blind to realize that time has passed. Over the centuries, I have admittedly found a grudging respect for them. The creatures are equally intelligent and ruthless, but they lack the ambition and endless potential of humans. I've given my life to ensuring the crown is finally snatched away from them. We are now the dominant civilization in the galaxy. My name will be remembered alongside the very greatest champions of humanity. I believe I have earned that much.
It appears that Salvation's attempt at the xenocide of the Thargoids has instead resulted in the Thargoids becoming simultaneously more powerful, able to neutralise Guardian technology, and much, much more angry. As Haimar Borichev, deputy editor of The Sovereign, points out, the Thargoids had a right to get angry when some ancient human attempted to wipe them off the face of the galaxy. Perhaps we should be looking at our own actions in supporting Salvation when we look at the mess we found ourselves in.
Guardian relics, when plugged into a Thargoid device, which is found inside active Thargoid sites, have changed their behaviour. Instead of being rejected by the device, they're now transformed into something that's been described as an unclassified relic. Undertaking this alchemy is not without its dangers. Once you've collected your 3 Guardian relics from any Guardian ancient ruins, a good place to take them is the Oracle in Delphi. Planet 5b contains many crashed Thargoid interceptors, many of which have Thargoid sensors. You need one of these to get into the Thargoid site in your SRV. Planet 5a has an active Thargoid structure. The sensor is corrosive, and after activation the Thargoid scavengers become aggressive. The Thargoid device becomes unbearably hot, and your SRV may start rotating and jumping in time to the Thargoid device's rhythm. But if you're willing to go through this process, and if you get out with one of these green relics, you may be able to help Professor Palin and Ramtar work out how the Thargoids resisted the Proteus Wave pulse, and help to rescue humanity from what looks like becoming a new, more deadly Thargoid invasion. Professor Palin can be found in Ark, and Ramtar in Mean, and they both pay 1,000,000 credits for every unclassified relic.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlejude and Witherspoon. Now, it's time to go over to Mia Harkness to find out who has overachieved at what this week. It's the Hutton Helper results.
Welcome to the Hutton Helper results. The Hutton Helper results are sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a detailed atlas of Scotland, in case you discover any galaxies out there. This week we have the following events: the Queen Street Station to Edinburgh Galaxy Cup, the Sucky Street Station Delivery Challenge, the 5-year mission to the Auchenshugel Nebula Deja Vu Trophy, the Grad by the Fuzz and the Rings of Strathbungo Charity Shield, the Chase by the Loch Ness Monster, which turns out to be a Federal Corvette, award, and the Planet Westray to Papa Westray Moon Shortest Space Flight Tournament. So, get your tartan telescope focused, settle down with a big plate of tatty bottle, whatever that is, and there's a hand, my trusty fear, and gi's a hand of run. The Hutton Helper results are: Comet-borne jumped 39,000 light years to come first in distance travelled. Commander Chicks sold 749,000 tonnes of cargo. Probably mugs and gin, I don't know about that. Chicks is also top mission runner with 789 mission points. Attic 2 submitted 116 million credits worth of bounties. Seren Du handed in 1,849,000,000 credits of combat bonds. And the Ostra delivered 1,328 people more or less intact to their various destinations. So, that's a decal this week for Seren Du. Please email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of a haggis with a paintbrush, a glass bottle of iron brew, and a tin of shortbread with Bonnie Prince Charlie on the front. This week, we have 142 Hutton runs. Things have been really busy over at Hutton, resources have been reallocated from Anaconda production, and it's all out mugs and gin to keep up with demand. If you look, you'll see that the orange lights at either end of the big aerial are flashing to show Anaconda production has been stopped at Hutton. The top 5 are Impala Mark at 1 hour, 22 minutes and 55 seconds. He's about 35 seconds off the record. Sharon Valeri, 2 eyes, 1 hour, 22 minutes and 58 seconds. Rudy Raumkraut with 1 hour, 23 minutes and 18 seconds. Epaphras with 1 hour, 23 minutes and 26 seconds. And Manu Workel with 1 hour, 23 minutes and 33 seconds. Anyway, there's a whole galaxy of stuff out there needing mugged, ginned, shot, shipped, rescued, looted, repaired, destroyed, bought, sold, squeezed, inflated, burnt, frozen, liquidated, evaporated, sandblasted, sponged down, smelled, licked, extruded, discombobulated, recombobulated, pilfered, rubbed, compressed, enveloped, siphoned, regurgitated, strained, fermented, poached, interrobanged, upcycled, violently downcycled, smelted, roboticised and propinated, and you can earn yourself a very fetching Hutton decal for doing it. To get involved, you just have to go to hot.forthemug.com and sign up for the delicious new Hutton Helper in 3 exciting formats. Let's face it, anything has to be better, but realising there's still no in-game assets named after Glasgow. Fleet carriers don't count. Anyway, that's it for this week. Away and boil your heads!
Thank you, Mia. Now it's time to mount up and join Amelia Hawke with this week's Ride Along Galnet Rares Digest.
Good evening. This is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. We try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. Despite the advent of the personal vehicle across the galaxy as the ultimate mode of transport, whether that be your Scarab or your Scorpion SRV, there has never been anything quite like the union of man and animal as a paired team for excitement, off-road ranging, or racing. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have looked at their animal cousins and wondered to themselves, "Ooh, can I ride that?" Seeing majestic horses sweeping across grasslands in North America, sturdy ponies on the tundra, or mighty pachyderms in India and Africa has inspired humanity to attempt to tame, mount, and then charge across the scenery with a tally-ho and a kick of their heels. With indigenous life in the galaxy not only abundant but varied in shape and size, it's no wonder that shortly after landing somewhere new, identifying that the native creatures are of the right size to carry human being and that the pointy end can be kept well away from the soft, fleshy people bits, explorers have been looking to get their leg over as soon as they can find and feel the wind in the air. Of course, this kind of lunacy back on Earth wasn't just limited to the ever-faithful horse or pony. There are tales of people attempting to ride into battle or over the next hill on the back of camels, which proved to be a very bumpy ride. Giraffes. It's a long way down if you get one of them spooked. And even rhinoceros and hippo, which, given the propensity of either of those to turn their little piggy eyes on you with hate, then stomp on you until you're very flat, probably isn't the wisest choice for a mount. The local population of Jangari, yes, the N is silent, have discovered a niche market in enabling our fetish for riding, and have styled themselves throughout the galaxy as leatherworkers, saddlers, and riders without parallel. If you can find a creature that walks, flies, crawls, slithers, or swims, and someone wants to take their life into their own hands by climbing onto the back of it, then the Jangari saddlers can craft you something to keep your bum strapped to the back of it, and keep from getting rubbed so raw that it resembles a poorly cooked steak, and give some modicum of control over which direction you scream across the landscape, holding on for your dear life. Of course, the humble horse has been domesticated for centuries, meaning that your average equestrian experience is a relatively calm one, trick-trotting sedately in your jodhpurs and knee-high boots, or at the kick of your heels galloping wildly with one hand on your cowboy hat and the other hanging desperately onto the pommel. Whether you're a sedate side saddler or legs akimbo genitalia mashing sadist, they've got what you need. Whilst there are artificial materials to craft your saddlery from, They maintain that there's nothing quite like catching and killing one animal, ripping off its outer layer, curing and tanning it, and then draping it across another creature, just to let them know who's boss. I've been taken down to the Museum of Saddlery over here at Jangari, just alongside their various training circles for display teams, and the range of leatherwork on display is just staggering. Your traditional back-mounted riding position for quadrupeds is here, looking much the same as it did in those old westerns shown in seedy bars where they night shift hang out and people say yeehaw a lot. Padded for the comfort of both rider and ridee with super soft Bellalands Ray leather covering for those that want to go the full Lady Godiva without dicing their unmentionables. Then there is the special saddles division. This is where the fun happens. Over in a number of pens alongside the museum itself is a complete menagerie of creatures, surrounded by apron-wearing leatherworkers with tape measures, 3D scanning devices, and not a small number of personal protection devices. As I watch, one of the Jangari is attempting to put a saddle on the back of a very, very large stag beetle. I mean, by very large, well, the pincers are about 8 feet long. It stands a good 40 hands high, and its back is as broad as an upturned boat. Nestled between the thorax and the main body of the beetle, the saddle is fitted and tightened around the belly of the creature. And the test subject scampers up one waiting leg, lowers himself onto the seat, and starts strapping himself in. Once done, with a slap on the beetle's abdomen, the pincers raise in the air, and it takes off at a surprising speed. It runs straight to the far side of the pen, up the far side of the pen, over onto the roof, and the rider is now hanging upside down, securely held by the straps. It charges over to the barn doors and crashes through them, and then there's a humming like a Spitfire taking off as the carapace opens and enormous wings unfurl. Wow. As it swoops overhead like a 20th century bomber, the rider pulls this way and that on the reins, and this majestic and terrifying beetle starts performing acrobatic maneuvers in the air. All the while, the rider he looks like he's whooping with joy and calling out commands. It's just magnificent. Over in the next pen, there's an albino Quechua mammoth being fitted with a leather howdah. 4 handlers mount the mighty beast, looking for all in the world like guards standing atop a tall, tall tower. The gates are opened, and this mighty beast with its enormous tusks takes one look at freedom beyond, shuffles uncomfortably, and then... oh no, oh my. It looks like this mammoth has other plans. It's pulled the first rider out of the howdah, and it looks like they didn't do their straps up very tight. The mammoth has decided that it quite fancies a kebab. The poor soul has been spiked on the end of one tusk. I can see the others frantically tying up their straps as this enormous albino trunk reaches back and grabs a second. But, wow, those leather straps are really strong. Though an angry mammoth who wants to decorate his tusks with screaming human, he's not going to be denied. Oh wow, he's torn him in half and stuffed the top half on the other tusk. Oh wow. I mean, credit where credit's due. The Jangari straps are really good. His legs haven't shifted one bit. I can hear the saddler calling out that the next time they'll want to mount it slightly further back. Oh. Looking around me, this isn't the only incident. Trial and error seems to be the name of the game, as I can see giant worms rolling around on top of their riders, apparently working out which way is up on a giant space worm isn't as easy as it looks. There's a six-armed ape wearing what looks like a baby carrier on its back, swinging from the eaves with a terrified screaming rider on its back. Oh no. He's crying. Oh, and I think he's been sick. Anyway, this is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest from Jangari. And, I've heard rumours that they're designing a saddle for a victorious salvation in anticipation of riding a Thargoid into battle. I'm going to have to let them know the bad news, so you don't have to. It was...
Wow.
There are no words.
I mean, it's an ancient and noble art, this leatherworking and this saddlery, but, I mean, we will try and just stick a saddle on anything that's big enough. Giddy up, come on,
Yeehaw!
Exactly. Or each other, or... Oh, dear. I mean, that mammoth, he really was not... You saw his face on the screen earlier. He was not a happy bunny.
Not
having any of that. You can get off right now. That's it.
Kebab time.
Kebab. And, oh, no, your legs are strapped in. Rip. That's it. Kebab again. Oh, dear.
I tell you one animal I wouldn't be putting a saddle on is not a dog, is a bear.
Oh, not a dog is a bear. Oh, no.
No.
Not having any of that. Not a dog is a bear. No.
A cat, possibly. Not a saddle.
I mean, I know, there are certain computer games out there where basically anything from the animal kingdom goes. You can ride it. There's usually big ones or scary looking ones with big horns and whatever else. But we don't really. I mean, these are rares. These saddles, because there's a lot of effort goes into. Oh, I wonder if I can ride that 6-legged giraffe lookalike, without any thought to. Oh my goodness, it's an awful long way down if the saddle doesn't work.
Should I ride that 6-legged giraffe lookalike?
Yeah, it's should being the operative word.
Why am I trying to ride that 6-legged giraffe lookalike?
I mean, imagine the size of the step ladder you'd have to get to get up on the darn thing. Yeah, and as for like riding a rhinoceros, I mean that if you fall off that one, there's a world of pain happening sometime soon, isn't there?
Yeah, I imagine like most beasts, it's uncomfortable in the middle and dangerous at both ends.
Yeah, well, yes. Just stay in the middle. I suppose that's where all these extra leather straps come in. Well,
hippos, which are notoriously belligerent.
They are the most dangerous animal out there.
Yeah, they are known to bite people in half. They're vegetarian, so they don't eat you, but they will bite you in half.
Well, they've got their teeth like spades.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily they can't really turn around. Their necks are a bit thick. They can't really turn around and catch you, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every year in the 21st century, hippos kill an estimated 500 people. It makes it the world's deadliest mammal after humans, twice as deadly as lions.
Dang.
And this is from a herbivore, a really angry vegan.
Yes. And then if they go for a poo, that comes out under high pressure.
Yes.
Just catching your finger while you're playing Hungry Hippos.
Yes.
Yeah, so stick to horses. But I mean, they are beautiful saddles. We saw pictures there. They're really beautiful saddles. The tooling on them and everything is absolutely stunning. And yeah, they will hold you the right way up or the wrong way up as you need without falling out, which is...
The tool on them what?
The what?
The tool on them
the tool on the back of the horse, yes. The tooling on the saddle, yes.
Oh, the tooling on the saddle, I see.
Yes.
Not the tool on the saddle.
The tool on the saddle, yeah.
Tune in to Hutton Orbital Radio each week. You never know what you will learn.
Well, exactly. Meerkats are apparently the most homicidal. I don't recommend trying to... We've not yet found like a rideable meerkat. Maybe you have to put one foot on each one and stand on them like you're on a chariot.
They send their...
If you do that, you need a cape.
A cake or a cape?
A cape.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you want a cape and a cake. Meerkats send their pups across the road first to check if there's cars. If the pup gets run down, they don't cross the road, just the scars.
Notably, during
priorities.
Yeah.
During the Rares broadcast there was somebody who turned up, who's never spoken to us before in chat, said, I have no idea what's happening, but I'm along for the ride. Yes.
Yes, we all will.
Yes. It's lovely to have you back, Amelia, and thank you so much for risking life and limb, mounting things and wearing those new saddles for us. It's
the pavement, mostly.
Yeah. Are you going to be back next week, do you think? I mean, is work freeing up some time?
Work at the moment is hectic, but I'm desperately trying to keep my Thursdays free.
Yeah. There's only so many Russian planes anyway, aren't there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Once they're
I mean,
gone,
how many can they have?
yeah, probably about 6 in total.
Yeah, exactly.
What about giant aardvarks?
Aardvark!
Aardvark!
Oh, it's
that
the
would be
safe word.
amazing.
Right, before we adhere to the safe word, does anybody else have any? I mean, Flossy, are we expecting sort of CGs like GTFO from HIP CG or anything next week? You know,
I don't know any details of any CG.
what's your guesswork? Is that, or is it the hunt for salvation? We have to turn in bounties to try and find out if one of them was salvation, who was escaping from it all aboard the Nemesis. Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, or there's an
Salvation does.
Oh my goodness! Turn it off, quick! Turn it off. I mean, the only answer is to just nuke the whole moon. Just blow the whole moon up. That's it. That'll stop it.
Yeah. Nuke the entire moon from orbit.
It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
Some well placed, C4 somewhere around the core. A lot of it, a few million tons. That'd do it.
Enough to set off a nuclear bomb, which is also next to it, would be helpful.
Oh, what?
A nuclear bomb.
I thought you said nuclear bong. Like that.
No,
There's 2 nuclear bongs.
a
nuclear bomb.
bin.
I mean, that sounds like extreme hippie behaviour, that one. And so what were you doing? Man, it was a nuclear bong.
It's a nuclear bong, man.
All right. That's a Cheech and Chong bong, that one.
Yes, it was a bin.
Yeah, it doesn't Crichton say aardvark in It's a Banana Seed? We don't plagiarise.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we did just a second ago when we said it's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, apparently there are greetings from the, was it Kioarf KNO C21 12220 system on the way to Sagittarius A-star, where the reception is surprisingly good. Yes, because in that direction, nobody tried using a Thargoid machine yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think as well, in terms of Crichton and Bananas, I think he did describe one as a small off-duty Czechoslovakian traffic warden.
Yes. Is that
And
along the same kind of line as an
aardvark.
edible poet, yeah?
Possibly.
Yeah. Right, come on to chicks. So
Yes.
next week, remind me before next week, those pictures we didn't show this week that Amelia was desperate to see, we need to put them up out of context, completely out of context.
Every week I'm going to ask you for pictures you do not have.
And every
Just
week
for a fair
I'll have
warning.
prepared 30 seconds before the show to insert extra themes, yes.
Are these the 15 remarkably similar pictures of the same thing?
I did it to Sean. I'm going to do it to everyone else.
Yeah, well, it's pictures of Space Edinburgh, which is not 250 years old, it's 250
No, it's
million.
250. Yeah, 253 million.
Yeah,
but, you know.
I think the other number you got wrong tonight was, I think it was 74,900 tons, not 700.
Yeah. I wondered about that when I read it as well. I thought, that's an awful lot.
I did go back and check, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You have the comma and the naught in the right place, except the wrong place.
Well,
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way, to Interius Fusion. I've just seen him pop up on a live mug feed as well. He's over in the HIP 107614 system and has got first ginful and mugful on a biochemical forum.
Nice.
Yes, and Dark Session and Kianis T Geek and they're mugging away as we've been talking. If you've been watching, well, look,
Zebra says if we eat a basket full of ghost peppers, a nuclear bomb would be achieved. Not a nuclear bin, but a nuclear bomb.
I do grow those.
What, nuclear bombs?
Yeah, ghost peppers.
Oh, ghost peppers. Yeah.
It's like that that neutrino Vindaloo. It went right through me.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Oh,
But
right.
it's
And
like
on that
they never
note,
end.
note, I think it's time for the thing.
Hutton Orbital where the fun never starts.
Who's going to do the? Amelia hasn't been on for a while. Now, before the
Hang on.
next thing happens, we're going to give adequate warning to our listener. We've got a couple of first-time listeners this evening. The next thing that you're going to hear is going to be really, really loud. If you're wearing headphones, please move them away from your ears.
Like 6
We
feet
do
apart
not
from your
want to
ears.
have to put out an apology next week for burst eardrums, okay? So we're going to give you a countdown of 5. Amelia,
Yes.
it's going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
For the mag!
5. Oh,
Mug!
there we go. Without the countdown.
Complaining about that.
You
That's
did.
not
You
the way
just
one-
counted down.
Yeah, I heard you.
I heard you too.
Right,
Yeah.
that's it.
You did it really fast. You caught me by
Yeah.
surprise.
But you still
VT. No, close VT. Night, everybody.
You never started BT.
Alright.
There's a BT.
Good.
Night.
Bye.
Too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with rails. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. To go cruising to Hutton, whoa, 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 no journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're very sorry, but that's the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?